allow me to introduce you to Omar Kutbi, the Engagement and Partnership Manager at KAUST. So interesting information about Omar. Omar worked in KAUST for 11 years now, and 10 years before that in the private sector. I believe sales, auditing, manufacturing. And I would like to share one other information about Omar, because as you know me, I always collect interesting information about you guys. So whoever gonna talk to Omar after that, Omar, one of the people who will never forget what you are doing, and he had good memory. So he know my startup better than me. He will remember, and mashallah, and he was working with a lot of government, entity, partners, investors. He will be the best person who will connect you with those, or who will suggest with you who's the people that you can talk with them in the future. So today he will give us a session about corporate engagement and partnership. I hope you enjoy it. And inshallah, في mentorship in one-on-one, you can also talk with Omar. He will be all around here.
Thank you so much, Rahaf. Good morning, everyone. And I have a trick, by the way, regarding remembering everything. When I go back after meeting with anyone, I will just write down whatever we talked about, a little bit about the company, and sometimes I even draw to remember. So that's the trick that have been working for me for so long. Thank you so much all for being here, and it's great to see the 8th cohort of Taqadam. I remember the first one and even the previous name, and when I saw Abdul Rahman, he brought so many memories. And I hate to be on stage after Abdul Rahman. You know, he's our best icebreaker, honestly, that we have at KAUST. Okay, so I will talk to you today on a different voice. So you guys are, you know, all cool people wearing nice shoes, you know, colorful socks. I represent the other side. I represent the government officials. I represent the corporate people, the boring people that usually, you know, have the check and have the signature to get you business. And they speak different language, and that language requires a lot of attention and a lot of patience. And one of the biggest tricks, especially with startups, of scoring business with those people, is to be able to see the gaps within the needs from the government and try to fill it. They will tell you, we want a white thobe, but in reality, what they want is they want something different or something bigger, and is that to see the cracks and try to accommodate to it. And it's let's say it's a special skill that you need to. So the Taqadam team, the entrepreneurship team at KAUST, myself, and so many other people are part of a newly established department within KAUST called National Transformation Institute. And basically, after the launch of the new KAUST strategy back in 11th of August 2023 by His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the chairman of our board, the whole idea of the KAUST new strategy, let me try to, okay, it's not moving, so I will try to use my hand. Okay, so the whole idea of the new strategy is accelerating impact. And what we mean by that KAUST have done great when it comes to research. We have produced a lot of research papers. We have produced a lot of intellectual property, but we did not find enough tools for us to take those great ideas and try to find a place for it in the economy, try to create an impact. And some of the best success stories we had were startups, but actually we wanted to encourage industry collaboration. We want to encourage innovation to find its way in the government and in the ecosystem, try to have a bigger role in Vision 2030 in simple term. So this National Transformation Institute, we do mainly three things, and these coming from the four pillars or priority for the research, development, and innovation that were identified almost 2 years ago under the research, development, and innovation strategy that came from the Saudi government. And we do three things. We do incubation, so we incubate a lot of startups, we incubate a lot of ideas, we incubate a lot of technologies, and we try to give it a space where it can grow and it can prove itself. We do a lot of scaling up. So we work on national priorities that were identified with our partners, and we take a technology that not yet in the scale that they can use or they can make sure that is useful, and we help them take it to that level so it can be taken seriously by them. And last, we create venture. And startups is a good example, but also we try to create ventures with industry partners, with government, and try to create or maximize the economical impact that we're trying to do. As I said, the last year, our new strategy got launched and is mainly focusing on three things: the alignment of the research, development, and innovation priorities, establishment of a new venture capital owned by KAUST called Capital K. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but it's a deep tech venture capital that is actually located in the Silicon Valley, with the idea of investing in startups that will grow, but also one day will land in Saudi Arabia. And last but not least is the establishment of the National Transformation Institute. We believe that we are in the meat in the sandwich, so we work with everyone. We have strong ties with the government, strong ties with the other academic institutions around the country. We have very strong ties with the industry, where we try to take the feedback and try to feed it into our faculty, our researchers, and so on, so they work on something that matters and that of importance. The whole team is divided into 4 boxes. So national priorities and partnerships. We are, let's say, the scout team that goes around, make sure to meet with everyone, collect feedback, and try to influence the rest of the direction of the university. Innovation team, you guys are very familiar with the Entrepreneurship Center, but also we have our own technology transfer office where we protect KAUST intellectual property and we develop it and deploy it. So we have developed many, let's say, mechanisms to take a technology from a lower technology readiness level to a higher technology readiness level. Also, we have our own technology projects team where let's say, the priorities that were identified at the beginning, how we deploy on it is through the technology projects team, where they take a challenge, a national challenge, and they try to take it to a scale where it's actually creating an impact. And I will talk about some of the examples. For example, we have worked on a project regarding the reefscape restoration in partnership with NEOM. We took an island called Shusha Island. I don't know if you guys know it. It's in Tabuk. And we're trying to restore the coral reef there by planting new corals and actually, we have built the biggest nursery in the world for corals, and now we are actually expanding it. We're supposed to plant, I think, 2 million corals in the coming couple of years. Consultancy, we have realized from the interaction with the government, especially the government and some of the mega projects, that there is a huge demand for technical and environmental consultancy. And based on that, we start offering this service mainly to those partners. So what we do in the national priority and partnership team, we try to create a funnel that feeds into the different services at KAUST. KAUST, as you know, it's a 3rd generation university. So a 1st generation university where students will go to a university, get educated, and leave. That's it. Any typical university. A 2nd generation university, it's a university where people will go to school, they get educated, but also they will conduct research. So they will produce research, they will produce some know-how. A 3rd generation university, they get educated, they create they generate basically ideas and knowledge, but also they act on it and create an economical impact through the creation of startups or through the deployment of that knowledge into the market. And the way we do it is we try to come up with programs that bridge all of these gaps, from education to research to proof of concepts to investment in startups and so on. And we work with so many partners. And one of the major programs we have created 15 years ago, so with the establishment of the university, is called KAUST Industry Collaboration Program. This program basically is a gateway for the voice of the industry, of the government, toward KAUST senior leadership. And from this program, we have what we call the KAUST Advisory Board, where the senior representative from the government and from the industry, they get to meet with KAUST leadership on annual basis and provide the feedback on the direction and what would be the market trends and where the university, as a university, is in the focus and redirect and so on. And actually, our next meeting is going to be next week on November 6th. So as I said, the program started in 2009 with 9 founders, and 6 of the 9 founding companies still exist with us for the last 15 years. Members include industry leaders from the government and from local and also multinational. And I will show you the logos of those entities as well. Why it's a membership-based program? As I said, it's a feedback gate into KAUST, where we actually really appreciate having such interaction with the government. And the reason, by the way, we have that, you see this pie. We call it kunafa, by the way, because the way it looks. I know I'm standing between you and your lunch, but this is all the different things KAUST could do. If you see everything you see here, this is everything KAUST could do. And we realized that if we don't find a way to create a one-stop shop model, especially for our members, they will be lost, and actually we will be losing a lot of opportunities for engagement. So what we did, we redesigned the way we do things. We are based on networking. So we believe that it's not just about what they could do with KAUST, it's what they could do with you as startups, what they could do with our network, what they could do among each other as members. We also try to build up collaborations and consortia. So this is a new trend as well we are taking, where we identify national priority topics, and rather than by us leading, we will create a consortia or an alliance with different government entities and private sector to address that challenge or that topic. And the one-stop shop model. These are the current members in the program, 26. You can see that they represent the pillars of the economy. They represent large international companies, but also they represent the government. We have good government representation, let's say from all the active government entities when it comes to research, development, and innovation. The way we did the networking part, and actually we found a huge interaction with the private sector, is that we established something called the KICP work groups. These are people with interest in the same topic. We get them together a couple of times a year. Actually, last year we got them together 3 times. And from there, we start identifying very specific topics, whether it can be addressed by research, or it can be addressed by a startup, or it can be addressed by someone within the network. So sometimes it's a corporate to corporate solution. Sometimes it's a corporate to startup solution. Sometimes it's the opposite. And from there, we identified, I think, 92 different topics. And from those 92, we were able until today to deploy on 6 or 7 consortia. So these are multi-party groups that they meet regularly, discuss issues and that they are interested in, for example, policies that affect their business. So we have government representations there to listen and maybe change those policies. We have technology providers that maybe need to adjust the technology based on the need, and so on and so forth. So what they do, identifying common interest, reaching consistent on priorities and what's matter first and what need to be addressed first, opportunities for stakeholders to be part of the project itself, so the deployment. So if we identify, for example, a government entity that in need for this technology, who's going to act on it? We make sure that we bring even the service providers, we bring the technology owners, we bring the policymakers, and everyone is sitting around the table to make sure that it's get deployed. Explore possible ways to collaborate among themselves and potential funding mechanism. So at the end of the day, we need to say, if any topic, by the way, if there is pain, usually there is money, and you guys know this better than anyone else. And that's what we try to identify from the beginning. We know that if there is seriousness about solving that issue, you will always find money coming in. And it's usually the easiest part. And establishing the subgroups based on the topics identified. Last year, on its own, we have done 3 KSCP work groups, December 11, 2023. Then we did another one in February and did another one in May. And the main 2 initiatives that got launched. So we launched the first platform for Earth observation in Saudi Arabia. So Earth observation application is basically satellite imagery of the country that's been taken by satellites. And we find out that there is no local solution for it. If you want to buy a satellite image of Saudi Arabia, you have to go to US, Russia, or China, or someone that owns a satellite. The government came with that challenge. Actually, a government entity came with that challenge, and we worked with them, finding local players, bringing everybody in this room. Actually, we brought them all together, said how we can, what we need to do. First, we found issues related to policies and rules and regulation, but also we find the solution where we can create a wholesaler for those imagery, where this wholesaler will buy the images from outside, localize them, and anyone that needs them, they can buy it from the wholesaler. But what is the best thing about it? They will optimize those imagery. They will look for ways to utilize them and provide services and data trends from it. So it will be a very lucrative solution from whomever is going to carry it later on. We build another one also regarding life cycle assessment. This is more carbon footprint related, where there is huge data sets around that needed someone to take a look at it and try to commercialize it in some way, and we ended up with a working group in that area. Uh, Recently, also, we got a new initiative going called AIM, which is AI Mission, basically. And this is it's in collaboration with the National Development Technology Development Program and MCIT, where we're trying to create a powerhouse for AI applications. We're gonna basically focusing on the main areas is the creation of startups in AI, the creation of know-how and people that are capable of providing basically the workforce to run such startups, or even to bridge the gap in the market. So talent development. We try to find applied solutions based on the needs that were identified from the government and from the private sector. Actually, from the work group that I just described a minute ago, the highest topic that was identified as a priority was AI utilization in the different sectors. So healthcare, they said we want to know what we could do with AI. Mobility, they want to know what they could do with AI. So it was number one highlight. And the second one was capabilities and basically human development gap, where it's exist in the market. So these are the two highest two, and basically this is what AIM is trying to do. As I said, so we're going to focus on AI innovation, developing AI talent, finding AI solutions for today's challenges, and creation of AI ventures. Another important basically venture that we have in place called the Shenzhen hub, which is for our first deployment into China, basically the Chinese market. And the reason for it, that we realized that Shenzhen itself is the Silicon Valley of the East. And if you want to do a prototype, it's the fastest place that you can develop something like that, but also the cheapest. So you can do it 10 times cheaper than anywhere else in reality if you want to do rapid prototyping. And we formed a strategic partnership with a university there, where we acquired the space that we're going to be using it to send our stars up there, finish their prototyping, and they can come back with a product or a solution. In addition, having access to the network of that university and that accelerator as well. Yeah, this is basically the partnerships under the center. And it goes from research and commercialization to entrepreneurship to talent development to partnerships and services. And yeah, so in addition to that, we provided the Shenzhen Center themselves from China an office actually in this building, where they can bring Chinese startups to try to get access to the Saudi market. Yeah. We also work with universities, so we try to bridge. تفضل. Great. This is actually exactly, so it's not just about prototyping there, but if you feel that you can deploy there, the hub there can help you. So it's both ways. Exactly, yeah. We try, by the way, we realize that we have only 200 faculty at KAUST, so we are very small when it comes to our faculty size, so we cannot solve all the issues. So we're trying to work with other universities in the country to build up a national database, let's say, of certain fields where we can reach out to them when we need. And this has been going quite well. I think I'm done here, but so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. There is the other mic. Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for your time. One of the slides that you have gone through was the venture building part of the initiative. I wanted to know where can we learn more about this so that we can understand which initiatives could apply to our own startup cases by cases basis. So where can we just search and find this information?
You are already in it. So this is really focusing on the entrepreneurship effort that we have. So Taqadam is one of them. We have the Next Era program. So there is a lot of programs under the entrepreneurship center that they focus on venture creation. However, if you are also want to look beyond what the Entrepreneurship Center is offering, I would suggest to take a look at how you can utilize for example, the core laboratories at KAUST, how you can utilize the network that we have. Being at Taqadam, by the way, you guys are counted as KAUST startups, so you can have access to the different services that we have. And one of them is the networking as well. But what exactly the field that the need you have? Is it an incubation? Is it
I feel incubation is part of the Taqadam features, but I was more interested in the funding arm and the investment arm of KAUST.
okay? So
Post
our
Taqadam, of course.
yeah, fair. Our fund actually is part of the same department. However, they have a very independent process. We can introduce you to them, and I'm sure they're gonna have a session as well. And we have two funds, by the way. We have the KIV, which is a smaller size fund, invest in a very early stage seed and pre-seed. And we have Capital K that invests only in Series A and above. And that's the one in Silicon Valley. So we have both options. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Initiative? Sure. Let me go back to it. Yeah. What do you like to know about it? Should not be of an academic, because actually part of it is the part of, let's say, the initiative is going to go to research. So what we want to do is we want to create a pipeline that starts from research all the way to the end, while inserting let's say technologies from out, because we know if we're going to start something today, whatever is going to be developed in research is going to take 5 or 6 years for it to reach to the end result, whether it's startup or deployment. So what we're going to do, we're going to focus on the AI Center of Excellence, which is research based. And then we focus on the talent development, training people basically. We can also focus on the solution. So if you have a solution for a challenge that's been identified under the center, we can introduce you to the end user or the government entity that is need for it, and that will initiate a direct deployment. So rather than waiting for research. Not yet. Yeah. By the way, it's in the final stages, to be fair, because we're trying to create a consortium around it. Today is NTDP and MCIT, but actually in reality we need to bring more players into the picture and try to find true challenges, and we try to push whether startups, technologies, or research if there is no solution ready today. It's a think tank in some way, if you think about it, that can find solutions for the challenges. Yeah.
I have a question about, I've seen that you've worked on health and wellness. So as a company, we're interested in two things: in CSR-based companies and their programs, but also NGOs and other public entities that are focused on that. How can KAUST help us as a Taqadam startup get access to these entities?
We can utilize our network for sure. If we understand more what you're trying to do, we can introduce you to the right players. However, to be fair, historically, KAUST we never had a medical school, by the way, at KAUST, or a hospital attached to KAUST. So it's an area we're trying to venture into as well. So our contribution, let's say, if you compare it to the other three areas, the smallest part was in the health and well-being. And we're trying now to expand on that. So we still have good relationship with the Ministry of Health, for example, or the Center for the National Health Insurance, and the Health Council. But still, we did not have the know-how, let's say, from research perspective to accommodate everything. Now, KAUST is pushing more and more to expand. And 3-4 months ago, KAUST launched 4 research centers, but we call them Center of Excellencies. So the first center is on sustainable environment. The second center on called generative AI, or Center of Excellency in Generative AI. Then we have a center on sustainable food. Then we have a center on smart health, which is mainly focusing on the digital transformation of the health sector, because we don't have, let's say, the clinical side, and we don't have it. And the last center is on energy and energy storage. So these are the 4 major research focuses of the university. Yeah. Sorry if there's.
Hello, hi, assalamu alaikum. So I had like two questions, but one is already answered. So if we want to do a specific partnership among all the partners that you guys have, who do we approach?
It's going to be our office, yeah, to make it easy. But to be fair, we need to understand something that those partnerships are very, let's say, very important to us. And before we take anyone to them, we need to make sure that it is something that we can present, that is something to the point and really solving a challenge. So what we usually do, we will have a set up a one-on-one meeting, and we have done a couple of for other startups. We meet with them. They tell us, for example, someone wants to meet with the Ministry of Industry. You know, we told them, okay, we have them in reach. We know we can give them a call if we want to. But before I go to them with something, we need to validate it. So we need to make sure that the solution you have is something that of interest. And second, we need to see who else in the ecosystem that you guys can maybe introduce to before going all the way to the ministry right away. For example, if your solution is more, let's say, digital transformation for a manufacturing facility, rather than taking you there, maybe we take you to Mudun first. Maybe we take you to a manufacturing facility even that we have a connection with. And we build up the case toward having that big connection established. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add to that, so with regard to the connection with the engagement team, I will be the main point of contact. So I will connect you with whoever you need to be connected with. So I'll be you can consider it as the middle guy in the process. You will send the email to me with whatever request you have, and then I will share it with the engagement team to connect us with the ecosystem player, government, investor, partner, whoever we need to be connected with. The one thing you need to understand for us, as Omar said, your technology or your solution or what you are looking for should be valid. And also, we don't take it only like what's valuable to you. We only consider what's valuable for them. So it's a win-win situation. When you share a request for us, we want to know how you're gonna help them, not helping yourself only. What you will add to them. So this is how you talk to customers. Let's consider them as a customer or a target audience. It's always what you will add to them, and from that behavior, the response rate will be better, and the connection will be like much easier.
Thank you. Yeah, small feedback. There is one more question there. A small feedback as well on this. Many times when we introduce startups to customers, it's not just about what you could do to them. I strongly suggest always ask them what they could do to you. By the way, today the government is providing a really great ecosystem to help startups go from one place to the other. So you have Munshaat, and guys, the General Authority for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises and the different offerings they have. You're talking about each of the ministries today. They have an innovation department. Each of the ministries almost they have an accelerator or some kind of support to startups. So you can tell them that we are a startup. We would like to help, provide you with the solution, but also would like to know what you have under your belt that can help us grow. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I think you perfectly answered the outbound side of it, meaning that if we want to meet someone. But my question is more about the inbound. Like you, in your presentation, you mentioned that you have some work groups where you identify the opportunities, or let's call them like problems to solve. So I'm guessing that you have a problem to solve, and startups are conveyed like that they can solve that sort of problems. So if we were hypothetically, let's say we have the solution to solve those problems, how do we get access to that? Are we conveyed to these work groups? Do we?
Okay, so this is we have done it actually a couple of times where we invited startups to those working groups. So, for example, we find a startup that will find the solution or will help us or have already got a solution that will solve the problem. We'll invite them over and try to see if we can get it. But what the best thing to do first is, I think we have to have a meeting. You guys explain to us what you're trying to do, and we match it with the 92 topics that were identified. And if we find you with high relevancy to one of them, we can get you in the next meeting. And the next meeting is going to be, by the way, in February. So, and as I told you, we do it 3 to 4 times a year. So it's something we do all the time based on the need. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
We got to know more about this engagement with you. So what I think, like you said about the engagement and talent that you have, if we can also get access to it, it will give more validation that if we want to work in Saudi Arabia and how really we tackle the problems here. So this is one of the things we are looking at. And another thing, when we go as a startup alone, it gives some of the companies that, okay, these are only startups. But I think if we are linked with an institution like yours or something, it will give more validation. Because sometimes it's better to say that we are a company than we are a startup, and people are degrading, I think, sometimes this startup word. The other thing I was talking about is how we can utilize the interns or the people who are studying here to be part of our, companies and can work on our product and services.
Okay, I will start from the next second point. So regarding utilizing or hiring KAUST graduates or maybe getting the students as interns, we can help you with that as well. So if you share with us, for example, the JDs you have, we will reach out to our colleagues at the graduate affairs, and we try to basically get you CVs, get you someone that might be useful. And by the way, we do it for startups and also for corporate. So many of our graduates, if a manufacturing facility in Jeddah would like to establish an innovation department, it's the easiest place. We always tell them, come and get one of our students as an intern. Explore, see if this is something you would like to put money into it, and so on and so forth. So we did that many times.
To have it as sustainable, we think that if there is a continuous, like feed, like sometimes we take, like we are from Bahrain, so sometimes we are taking, interns, and after sometimes it goes. So you have this breakout. So if we can have it continuous, it's good for the student, and it will be sustainable for both.
Yeah, I agree with you. By the way, talent retention is a challenge as a startup, so you have to give them maybe some shares. That's the only way. Yeah, someone will comment on that. But regarding capitalizing on KAUST name in the market, as I told you, these partners, and by the way, we have almost 1,000 companies that we deal with throughout since we started. So we have a huge database. When we go to them as KAUST, that's why we need to validate what you guys do. It doesn't mean what you have is good or not good. It's also because we want to ensure that when they see KAUST name, that we are a trusted partner, whether to the government or to the private sector. So we want to make sure that we deliver on that trust that we took us years to build. And if your idea is really solving a challenge, we would love actually to support. And you already have the Taqadam stamp, so that's another thing. We believe that Taqadam is the most prestigious accelerator in the country. Some people don't like it, but it's okay.
Also, just to answer regarding your second question with regard to the intern, actually, as far as I understand from the human capability, human
human resources.
So basically, there is a lot of programs that support companies, small companies inside Saudi, support them with salary, support them with intern, with fully sponsor for their salaries. But I believe that required your incorporation in Saudi. So one of the program, I was part of that program when I was fresh graduate. So I believe for 2 years or for a year, they will sponsor, they will pay the salary for the intern. And the salary is almost like a 4K or 5K for them. And the year after, I believe they pay 50% of that salary. So you can look for that program. طاقات, basically دعم التوظيف, توطين. There's many programs supporting that. And if you want people who will stay with you for a long time, that will be a good start for you.
By the way, there is a similar program almost under every ministry. Since Vision 2030 came out, there's been a huge emphasis on startups and small and medium-sized companies. And if you go to Munshaat, you will find services. If you are more into industry, go take a look at the Saudi Industrial Development Fund. If you are more toward, let's say, trade and so on, the Ministry of Commerce also have programs and one-stop shops solutions for all of your answers. So capitalize on it as much as you can. Yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you for that. The one area that I haven't heard about yet is the real estate industry.
Real estate.
Yeah. So there's a couple of prop techs. We're one of them. For example, we look to try and help the Vision 2030 goal of home ownership, 70%. So is that something that is in a different sector covered by another area, or is it something that can be covered under some of these programs?
Okay, this is a good question. So real estate on its own, we don't have, in KAUST, we don't have a lot of research in the application of it. However, we have some technologies that can serve this. For example, KAUST have produced technologies that go into construction material, but this is really far down the, the supply chain of it. So as a university, as a government, I'm sure there is a lot of programs. I know that there is a department under the Ministry of Housing called Building Technology Department, where they try to explore, for example, technologies that go into the construction side of the equation. And if we dig deeper, you will find even on the other side, they might have an accelerator, or they might have something focusing on real estate. But it's an emerging economy or industry actually in the country. Yeah. But at KAUST, I don't think we have anything specific for real estate, to be fair. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. We should maybe, yeah. I think we should, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, please.
Hey, for satellite companies.
I'm sorry?
Satellite companies.
Satellite, okay.
For the remote sensing Earth observation.
Yeah.
For emerging satellite companies that are trying to get funding for the satellites built specifically for the region to address some challenges here. For us, the main challenge is POCs, proof of concepts. We usually do them in other continents on drones, but here in this country, it's proved to be very difficult to even convince someone to consider drone POCs or any other POCs. And I understand that you touched upon engagement, and have the support from CST and the others, we understand. Is there any way to get in front of the end users of remote sensing data, and B, to do the POCs with them if our challenge is that we don't have the satellite in orbit yet? So
this is a really good question. Actually, the whole space industry is being built as we speak now. And I know that our entrepreneurship center actually is a founding member at the Space Entrepreneurship Alliance, so C. However, I know from the discussion that taking place that there is interest, for example, in technologies that help this industry. For example, satellite design, all of the remote sensing technologies. So there is under the Ministry of Communication, as far as I know, there is a couple of initiatives that addressing this. But I'm not sure if there is a program in place yet. The discussion I just talked about the Earth observation, so it has a lot to do with the space technology. And remember, there are supposed to be some follow-ups in that track. I can take a look at the topics that were identified and come back to you. But I know, for example, they wanted to do training programs for astronauts, for engineers, space engineers. I know this was identified as topics. And there was also one related to establishing like a national center for training the astronauts on gravity related, and it does not exist in the country. And the launching pad for if you want to launch a satellite. We don't have anything in the region, not just in Saudi Arabia. So these are all topics were identified, but we need to check who's gonna pick on them. If you guys can support pushing one of those profiles, then we can take you with us in the discussion. Yeah,
for sure. Thanks.
Yeah, we talked about like getting interns from KAUST, but there is something that we usually do with universities, engineering schools, but I don't know if it's the case for KAUST, where we use them as kind of subcontractors for a certain specific segment. Let's say, for example, we do like underwater robots. Let's say the whole electronics of the side of it will be subcontracted to, let's say, KAUST University. Is this something that you usually do?
Actually, one of the good facilities we have at KAUST called the KAUST Core Laboratories. And this basically, you reach out to we can hook you up with them. You can submit a request for something that let's say, some prototyping that you would like to do. They will provide you with a quote. So you pay them per service. And the good thing, you get access to the best laboratories in the country, in addition to the best people that can work on your project. And you pay them by the hour. So it's very straightforward relationship. But what the other good thing about it, also they can provide you with some kind of consultancy or mentorship when it comes to the development of those products. And I'm sure you guys have it in the program, Rahaf, but are they going to visit any of the core labs?
So if you require the visit to the core lab while you're here in KAUST, we can manage that. So you can take a look.
Yeah, I suggest if you guys can go to the Innovation Fabrication Lab. They have beautiful facility, but also we have a clean room. For example, if you are into electronics, we have a full industrial scale clean room on campus. Yeah. Any more questions?